From wherever you're joining us from, hello and welcome to Her Essence. I'm your host, Soni Masharia. Buckle up, grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. For today's show, we want to talk about friendships and demystify the aspect of friendships. And due to public demand, I brought a guest. Guys, I'm so excited. This is so interesting. How are you?
I'm so fine, and you?
I'm fine, thank you. Last time we had a lot of feedback concerning your level of knowledge. We must say that. There's something about it that makes me just want to, talk to you. So today I want us to talk about friendships. And I think friendships is a very important aspect when in our lives and how we perceive life and how we demystify all this life, because life is hard, but friendships tend to make it better, right?
Yeah.
What do friendships mean to you?
First of all, I would say friendships are very, very crucial in any person's life. But the only thing that can define friendships in your life is vision. If you have vision, you will know who to have in your life. Yeah. You'll, of course, know who to involve as you continue developing what you need to develop. And it's important to start from that point. What do you aspire? Because you need a team to get to where you need to go to. And the best team could be within your friendship. So I believe friendship is very important in any person's life, to be able to build you up, to be able to help you even in terms of gaining what you need to gain, because one is too small a number for you to be able to do anything. Exactly. You need people who can help you, diverse ideas, diverse knowledge and areas of expertise that you need to be able to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, because I like what you said about the vision you have will determine the friends you have. Yeah. Because I tend to think that friendships should build you, and if they do not build you, that's a no-go zone, right? Yeah. Because if your vision is to get somewhere and somebody doesn't support that vision, then it won't serve your purpose. You know what I mean? What are the purpose of friendship?
So the purpose of friendship is mainly, apart from maybe we talk of friends and think it's maybe supposed to be there for fun. Yeah. Okay, there's a fun part, I don't deny, but most part of it should be to be able to build you up to become a better person, to be able to help you get to a better level as you desire, and most importantly, for you to be able to, have to prevent a lot of weight from your life, because sometimes we carry people who, of course, pull us behind from what we need to do as we move ahead towards attaining what we want to attain. So it's important to know that friendships, you cannot perform in a manner that is higher than the level of the associations you have. So of course, people who you associate with determine how you think, how you plan your time, and every single activity that you even indulge in, because it's your environment. The same way I think somebody has said in his writing that, I think it's Chinua, but he says it, and I have seen it in people's lives, but I haven't seen it quite much in my life, but I'm beginning to quite, look into it. But he says, even your earning range is determined by the level of friendships you have. You realize that the more you, even yourself, the kind of friends you have determine what hotels you go to. Yeah. Because that is how much you people can afford. So sometimes it's very true, and I believe the best way to become a better person is by improving what is around you. And of course, the same way they say that a tree is only as healthy as the surrounding within it, same to a human being. If your surrounding is toxic, if your surrounding is helpful, it determines the end result.
Yeah, because I was thinking your circle of friends, right? When I look at your friends, I should be able to determine the kind of person you are. Yeah. And then I have a belief of all these suicidal cases that happen in our country or the worldwide, they could be solved if your friend checked up. Because this checking up on you might seem like you're naggy or whatever people might presume, but I think that friends checking on each other, that could have solved the most cases of suicide cases, because what are the purpose of friendships? Because people think it's fun, people think it's, I get a gang or a crew to hang out with, but I think friendships is the most important thing, because some people's life existence is determined by friends. Because I personally can attest to that. My childhood and my survival was as a result of my father's friend checking in and be like, oh, how are you doing? Because that how are you doing is a very intense statement. You ask if you really want to know, right? Because I want us to demystify the type of friends we have, and I want you to talk to us about that.
Okay, so there are so many types of friends, and I'd categorize them in very many levels, but I want to go directly into one or rather three major types of friends, which I have been able to clarify it from one major TDJX who has demystified it very well. And since I was young, I think he helped me see through that, and it has helped me so much even to this age. So one thing, even before I go to the type of friends, as you've said, the checking in and the having people around you. I've realized we rarely have intimacy in friendships. People really just relate and have activities, but there's no intimacy. There's no that relating to a point where I feel I'm not lonely. People only relate, and by the time you even get out of probably an occasion you are in together, you still feel empty because there wasn't any connection within you. And I believe friendship thrives on intimacy. If you're able to have genuine and authentic intimacy between you and somebody else, it's very important for you to be able to thrive in that relationship and, of course, get a good result in the end. So for the types of friends,
just to take you back a bit, when you talk about intimacy in friendships, what is this? Intimacy has a very ambiguous meaning, right? I want you to talk about what is intimacy in friendship and how do we get to that part.
Okay, so intimacy is basically being able to connect with you. I'd use a very, very good example like David and Jonathan. Those are people who loved each other, and it's even very, very ironical the fact that it's men, not even women. The way we are used to having it's women who have a girl code, but we have David and Jonathan who shared life together. Intimacy is where I share my life with you. I love you for who you are, and most especially I am there for your highs and lows. So at least I'm able to say that my life is your life, and I can carry the burdens you have, and that is when I feel I'm accepted. And that is quite what I can say intimacy is. For you to get to that level of intimacy, I believe there are three things which are very important. One, it's positivity. If I'm positive about you, if I'm always so, I compliment you for who you are, I always feel I'm connected to you. I'm rarely connected to anyone who has ever been so negative about what I am, what I do. I probably can hear, because critics are also very important in your life, but you won't connect to that person. So the other thing I think which is very important is consistency. If I'm consistent with how I relate with you, how I check up on you, how we often do things, it builds your intimacy. You can't compare somebody who you maybe talk once in a month compared to somebody who you probably is often like daily or even twice a day, or as many times as possible. You can't compare those two relationships. And the other thing is commitment. Of course, am I committed to you more than just all these other things? Am I committed to you? So I believe those three things are very important to be able to build intimacy in any relationship, and it is very, very self-fulfilling when you have somebody who is able to do and give those three things.
Let's take you back to when you were talking about types of friends. Let us know these types of friends and just how we can identify them in our lives.
Okay, so I'll first use the layman's language kind, where you can have an acquaintance. Of course, an acquaintance is somebody you meet, and that is somebody who you can't say you're friends with, but somebody who's just, a new kind of friend. So that's also a type of friend. We also have a casual friend who probably you meet because you study together, you go for games together, probably there's a practice you do. There's also now the close friend, of course. That one is, of course, somebody who you share your life together, and the intimate one where you share your feelings. So those ones are just the basic kinds that we understand in the normal daily day-to-day life. But I wanted to dwell on what inspired my life, as I had said earlier. And I find them very, very practical, and I will delve into only those three, which are, I'll start with confidence, which is the most important. A confidant is somebody who loves you for who you are. Somebody who's there because, somebody who's there for you, not for what you do, for what you offer, for the other things that surround you. It's most importantly because of who you are, and they're there to share everything with you. They're there when you're in trouble, when you're in success, and every season of your life, they are there with you. And confidence are very rare. For me, I think for you to really find somebody who's willing to share your life with you and carry your life like it's theirs, like we were giving an example of David and Jonathan, somebody who is even willing to take, Jonathan was so, I think few people exist like him. How do you know this somebody will take the position your father really wants you to hold and still support him to get there? It takes somebody who understands your destiny to do that. And that is what we call confidence. People who know where you're headed to and they're willing to help you get there. That is what for me confident is. And I think the other thing he brings on board is constituent. A constituent is just like from the word, he or she constitutes your life. That means that person is there because of what you do, and most importantly, because of what they want to achieve. So as long as you do what they want to do, they are there with you. The moment they see a better person who can achieve much better with them, then they quit from you. And of course, the next thing, they're with the next person. So you can't blame them. That is them. And that is the type of friend that was there in your life. Most of the time, you can confuse a constituent for a comrade, because when a constituent is in your life and they want to achieve what they want to, they will behave like a confident. Why? They're there to really get and give their best to be able to get what they want. But once they reach where their destination was, they will alight the bus. So we have to allow friends and to allow people to live when their season comes. Don't hate them. Remember, they are precious in God's eyes, in their families and other people who rely on them. So don't hate on them. The only thing will be release them with love and understand their season in your life is ended. So don't confuse the two.
How do you determine this season? Because I don't know if it's like a red flag or something that comes to you and you're like, okay, now this is a season for him to live. Because I think it's the hardest thing. To determine that someone was in your life for a season and now it's over. It has to have like a denial stage or whatever it is. How do you determine the season?
The season, you only outgrow each other. You realize things are not going as you needed them to be. For instance, the way we reason has now begun to be very, very, bumpy. We're not like really agreeing in the things we really wanted to do. So a real friendship flows. The moment you realize you really have to put up a certain kind of life for you to become, to fit into him or her, automatically that means that person can no longer fit in your life anymore. Then most of the times, especially if you're reliant on God and everything you do, it's very possible for you to find you focusing on other things, and without you even planning about it, that person is no longer part of you. So you realize as you move on to the next level, if this person has not grown to that level, you'll of course have moved ahead without them. And of course, the same way to you, if that person, moves ahead and you're not growing, of course, he or she leaves you and you're left behind. So these things are very natural. You might not even plan for them. You might not think about them. But if you're keen enough, it is important for you to know before you really get, bitter about anyone, that this person no longer fits for me. And I should be very okay with that, to understand that not everyone is meant for me for life. Not everyone, apart from that one person you say your vows to, and of course to the few people who God gives you to work with you your entire life.
That is such a good way to start this series on friendships.
And before you finish, I think there's one which we've left out, which is very, very important. I think no problem. We have the comrades. Comrades is just somebody who's there because of what you're against. If for instance, let me use an example like. You were in school once, probably in high school, and you've never talked to someone until the time you're thinking of striking because of a certain issue. That day you'll become friends until victory is achieved. So for me, and probably even in other things we do here in life, until whatever I decide to do because I'm against somebody. Like, for instance, let me use the political arena. We can be good friends because I'm against probably Ruto or Raila. So I'll gang up with you just to make myself feel good and feel like, I think the energy is enough for us to be against this person. But as long as that, it is only there as long as that exists. The moment the victory is achieved, of course, we fall apart. So it's important to just know the difference between all those two. But the most important one is the confidence. You'll never be able to achieve much more if you never find your confidence. That is why David could have died. David could have, have not achieved if it was not for the help of Jonathan. Honestly, he would have never gotten to the place he got, because there's a time he was almost killed. It's only Jonathan who helped him. The time he helped him escape. Yeah. All those kinds of things. You need to know that the area that the confidence has in your life is very, very important and crucial.
Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, friendships is not a topic we can demystify in one episode. Join me next week for the continuation of the same, as we talk about toxic friendships and how to find that out. I've been your host, Soni Masharia, Wema Online TV, on all social media handles. And that's the voice of
Wema TV, the voice of hope.